The first time Kaelan Ridgeway carried coffee into the Albridge Couture boardroom, he heard a snicker. "Careful, boy. That tray's worth more than your paycheck." The laughter stung, but Kaelan didn't flinch. He placed the coffee cups with steady hands, nodded politely, and left the room as if their words didn't follow him down the hallway. The whispers never really stopped. Around here, people saw what they wanted: a lowly errand boy with second-hand shoes and no connections. That was fine. He wasn't here to be seen. Not yet. For 5 years, Kaelan had worked at Albridge Couture, the fashion empire that built its name on perfection and exclusivity. Every morning, he arrived before the doors opened. Every night, he left long after the lights dimmed. No one asked why he stayed. They assumed he had nowhere better to be. What they didn't know was that Kaelan Ridgeway had every right to stand in those halls. His mother, Evelyn Ridgeway, once designed the very patterns that now hung in the company's Paris showroom. But when Evelyn became an inconvenience to Edwin Albridge, the founder himself, the company erased her name and silenced her story. She was sent away with a small check and a scandal they never allowed her to outrun. Kaelan had been 15 when she died, her dreams crumpled, her talent unrecognized. He had sworn that he'd return, not through noise and anger, but through patience and precision. Every insult, every sideways glance, was a stitch in the tapestry of his resolve. "Oi, Ridgeway," one of the junior execs, a sharp-faced woman named Chelsea, called from a desk. "The dry cleaning's ready. Don't lose it this time." Kaelan smiled gently. "Of course, Miss Langston." He picked up the receipt and left without a word. The cleaners were 3 blocks away, but Kaelan's mind wasn't on errands. His phone buzzed in his pocket. A message from Frederick Blake, Edwin Albridge's old lawyer. "It's time. Come by my office today. He left you more than you think." Kaelan's heart thumped. He'd waited years for this. Back at the office, the same people who laughed at him now had their own worries. The company was bleeding funds. Oliver Albridge, Edwin's son and current CEO, had made risky decisions that turned sour. Investors were growing restless. Rumors of layoffs floated through the air, adding an extra layer of sharpness to every conversation. As Kaelan passed the design floor, he noticed Amelia Crow, a senior designer, hunched over a sketchpad. She was one of the few who ever greeted him kindly. "Running the whole company yet, Kaelan?" she joked softly. "Not yet," he smiled. But for once, the words felt less like a joke. By the time the sun dipped behind the skyscrapers, Kaelan stood outside Frederick's office. The old man looked up from his desk, his expression a blend of relief and apology. "Kaelan, you've been patient. More patient than most would day. But Edwin's will was clear. He left you his shares, 48% of Albridge Couture. Enough to give you a voice. Enough to change everything." Kaelan's breath caught. The boy who once carried coffee was now, by legal right, the largest shareholder of the empire that had buried his mother's name. Outside, the city hummed on, unaware that its fashion world was about to shift. Kaelan Ridgeway wasn't going to shout his arrival. He was going to let them invite him into the room. The next morning, Kaelan Ridgeway entered Albridge Couture's marble lobby not as an errand boy, but as a silent storm. He wore the same simple black shirt, the same worn-out shoes, and still, no one noticed how the weight in his steps had changed. Only Frederick Blake, standing by the elevator, knew. "They won't see you coming, Kaelan. And that's exactly your advantage." Upstairs, the boardroom buzzed with its usual arrogance. Oliver Albridge sat at the head of the table, a smirk playing on his lips. He had built his kingdom on inherited power, not skill, and it showed in his reckless decisions. "What's on the agenda?" Oliver drawled. "Cutting more jobs to fix the numbers." The directors nodded, already bracing for another round of damage control. That's when the door opened. Kaelan stepped inside, holding a slim leather folder. His entrance barely caused a ripple. Just another assistant with paperwork, they thought. Until Frederick entered after him, his gaze firm. "Gentlemen, I suggest you all sit," Frederick announced, sliding a stack of legal documents onto the table. "There's been a development regarding Edwin Albridge's estate." Oliver's smirk faltered. "What estate? That was settled years ago." Frederick's eyes glinted. Apparently not. Edwin's final codicil, which you failed to disclose, has come into effect. Effective immediately, Mr. Kaelan Ridgeway holds 48% of this company's shares. The room froze. Laughter broke from Oliver. That's absurd. Here's a delivery boy. Kaelan's voice cut through the air. Calm, but sharp. Delivery boy today. Co-owner the next. You decide how fast I switch roles. Chelsea Langston's pen slipped from her fingers. Amelia Crowe, sitting unnoticed at the back, allowed a faint smile to curve her lips. You think you can walk in here, flash some papers, and wheel Bo? Oliver spat. His face turned red, his words losing their polish. Your mother was nothing but. The air cracked. Kaelan's fist clenched, but his words stayed smooth. Don't finish that sentence, Oliver. I am Evelyn Ridgeway's son. The patterns you sell, the designs you call Albridge originals, they were her work. You wear stolen brilliance. But I'm here to claim it back, not with fists, but with the authority you overlooked. The board shifted uncomfortably. Their eyes darted to Frederick's legal papers, then to each other. Slowly, the reality sank in. This wasn't a joke. I'm not here to ruin what my mother built, Kaelan continued. I'm here to repair what you've broken. Starting today, this company will remember its roots. The staff you're so eager to lay off, those are the hands that keep this empire breathing. Oliver's jaw clenched, but there was nothing he could say. The documents spoke louder than his ego. Later, in the corridor, Amelia caught up with Kaelan. You've shaken the giants, Kaelan, but they won't give up that seat easily. I don't want their seat, Kaelan said quietly. I'm building a new table. That evening, as the city lights blinked to life, a memo circulated the entire company. Effective immediately, Mr. Kaelan Ridgeway has been appointed as co-managing partner of Albridge Couture. Some sneered, some whispered, but a few smiled, because for once, someone who knew what it meant to struggle was finally holding the pen. The days that followed were a storm Kaelan had not fully prepared for. Power had been signed into his hands, but respect wasn't something a document could command. The office corridors became battlegrounds of murmured insults and stolen glances. Some called him the charity boss, others laughed behind closed doors. But Kaelan moved through the noise with steady calm, learning, observing, and planning. On a Wednesday morning, while reviewing old design archives, he found something that nearly broke him. Sketches. Dozens of them. Signed not with Albridge, but with his mother's initials, E.R. Designs that had become the face of the brand were his. Patterns Oliver Albridge had paraded as his own. He stayed at them for a long time, a lump forming in his throat. Kaelan. It was Amelia's voice. She had become his unexpected ally, guiding him through the labyrinth of corporate sabotage. These are his, he said, his voice barely above a whisper. They called her a cleaner, Amelia, but she built this place. Amelia's eyes softened. They used her brilliance and discarded her name. But you're here to fix that. Kaelan stood, the fire in his chest burning stronger. It's time we rewrite the story. The next board meeting wasn't on the company schedule. It was an emergency session, called by Kaelan. When the directors gathered, smug and ready to undermine him, Kaelan didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. He unveiled the collection, the Ridgeway Legacy line. Designed so breathtaking, so intricate, that even the most cynical of the directors was silenced. Each piece had a tag. Designed by Evelyn Ridgeway, E.R. You can choose to back this collection and watch this company's legacy be honored, or you can fight it and watch your stocks plummet when the world learns the truth, Kaelan said. His gaze locked on Oliver. The room was suffocatingly silent. Oliver's face, however, twisted into a cruel grin. You're not playing by the rules, Kaelan. You think this sentimental show will scare me? Kaelan leaned forward, his tone razor-sharp. No, Oliver. I'm not here to play. I'm here to win. The launch of the Ridgeway Legacy line was set in motion, and the buzz it generated was unlike anything the company had seen in years. Journalists wanted to know the story behind the name, and Kaelan told it with grace, never once tarnishing the Albridge name, but always highlighting the woman who had been its silent architect. But the higher Kaelan climbed, the more vicious Oliver became. On a Thursday evening, when most employees had left, Kaelan received an anonymous tip. Documents proving Oliver's embezzlement sat hidden in the office's restricted archives. Files that could bring Oliver's empire crashing down. Amelia urged caution. This could backfire. Kaelan, if you expose him now, you'll be seen as the villain, not the hero. Kaelan's reply was a whisper. I'm not looking to destroy him. I just want the truth to breathe. Later that night, as Kaelan sat in his small apartment, Frederick Blake called. You have the power to crush him now, Kaelan, Frederick said. But the question is, do you want revenge or justice? Kaelan's silence said everything. He knew what he had to do. The gala was not just a company event. It was the event. The hall was draped in silver and gold. Photographers lined up at every corner, and the air was charged with anticipation. Tonight, the Ridgeway legacy line would be unveiled. Kaelan stood by the grand staircase, dressed in a sharp black suit, but his mind was elsewhere. He remembered his mother's hands, scarred and worn from years of working in the factory, and how she used to hum quietly as she stitched life into fabrics. She never wanted riches. She only wanted to be seen. Now, she would be. Oliver Albridge arrived late, sauntering in with his usual arrogance. His cronies followed, plastered with fake smiles, their eyes flicking toward Kaelan like he was an inconvenient stain on their polished shoes. They didn't know that Kaelan held the keys to their secrets. But tonight wasn't about exposing them. The lights dimmed. A hush swept through the room as the first model walked onto the runway, adorned in a dress so intricate, so alive, it felt like the room itself was holding its breath. Every design that followed told a story, Evelyn Ridgeway's story. By the end of the show, there wasn't a dry eye in the hall. Kaelan took the stage, his voice steady but filled with emotion. Tonight, you've witnessed not just a collection, but a life's work. A woman who was never in the photos, never given a title, but who built the heartbeat of this company. Evelyn Ridgeway, my mother. The applause was thunderous, but Kaelan barely heard it. His eyes searched for Oliver, who sat frozen, his face drained of color. But the night had one more twist. As Kaelan stepped down, a soft hand touched his shoulder. Amelia. Kaelan, there's someone here who needs to see you. An elderly man, thin and weathered, approached. His eyes were tired, but his voice was clear. I worked with your mother in the early days, the man said. We all knew the truth, son. But we were afraid. You've given her the voice we never had. Kaelan's chest tightened. Thank you, sir. That means everything. Before the night ended, Kaelan sought out Oliver. He found him by the exit, staring at a framed photo of the old factory workers, the only photo where Evelyn was deliberately cropped out. I'm not going to destroy you, Oliver, Kaelan said, his voice low. You'll destroy yourself, piece by piece, knowing that your legacy is built on stolen hands. Oliver didn't respond. For the first time, there was no sneer, no witty comeback. Only silence. Weeks passed, and the Ridgeway collection soared. Orders flooded in, partnerships formed, and for once, the company felt alive again. Kaelan continued working hard, not from a glass office at the top floor, but amongst his team, listening, learning, growing. He enrolled in law school, determined to finish what he had started, balancing work and study with relentless grit. He didn't need to announce it. His actions spoke louder. Amelia stood by him through it all, her quiet strength becoming his anchor. She once told him, "You didn't inherit this place, Kaelan. You earned it." And she was right. By the time he graduated, Kaelan Ridgeway was not just a name. He was a movement. The young man they had mocked had redefined leadership, not with power, but with purpose. On the anniversary of Evelyn's passing, Kaelan visited her grave with a single white rose. The wind was soft, the sky painted with hues of orange and pink. You were never invisible, Mom, he whispered. You just needed the right eyes to see you. As he stood there, a notification buzzed on his phone. It was a news headline. Oliver Albridge resigns amidst financial scandal. Ridgeway now sole leadership family. Kaelan didn't smile. He didn't need to. The world had corrected itself. And yes, it felt right. Never underestimate the quiet strength of those you ignore. Dignity and worth are not found in titles or wealth, but in resilience, character, and the courage to rise above those who tried to keep you unseen. If this story moved you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more powerful stories that inspire, challenge, and stay with you.